Yeah, the only person I can come up with who has an interest of harming Taylor to say, hey, this is what it feels like to have a smear campaign against you. You should have supported me. The only person that would think like that, I don't know, guess who?
Yeah, we've lost some time.
Hi and welcome to Flossom Talk. I'm Shady Floor, journalist, Hollywood truth teller, and your voice of reason in a town built on delusion. Okay, I was just interviewed by Daily Mail, so look out for that article. I'm sure it's going to be published later today. They were asking me questions around my vindication that it's now official that I had nothing to do with the alleged smear campaign against Blake Lively. And there's an article in the Rolling Stone that a lot of people sent me. This is very interesting because they are talking about an alleged smear campaign or like a cyber attack against Taylor Swift. And they're trying to link this to what happened to Blake Lively with this astroturfing that she experienced coming from bots. By first glance, you think this article might help Blake Lively, but I believe the complete opposite of that, and I'll tell you why. Also, the judge is so tired of Blake's shenanigans. Now he is pushing for a settlement. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think mostly in these cases, that's part of the procedure that the judge wants that to happen. But he's basically saying now we've seen most of the evidence, or he has, we haven't yet, still waiting for that. And he thinks it's time for them to have a chat. We'll get into that. Okay, so let's talk about this article in the Rolling Stone first, because this has been sent to me by so many people and a lot of people online are talking about it. So basically in this article, they're claiming that Taylor Swift was the target of a coordinated attack online, and they're accusing her of being a MAGA icon and secretly using jazzy symbols. I'm not going to say that word because that's not a good idea on YouTube. Anyways, they're saying that all these lies were spread about Taylor online, and it started inorganically and then it was picked up by real people and spread all over the internet. I have to be honest, and I have to say that I follow things on social media pretty closely, and I never heard about these theories surrounding Taylor Swift. Let me know if you came across any of these stories about Taylor. So this apparently was supposed to happen around the release of her new album. First of all, one thing this article is doing is stating the fact that Blake Lively was a victim of astroturfing, because they're saying this happened to Taylor Swift and it also happened to Blake. So they're actually claiming facts here that has not been proven in court or anywhere else for that matter. So someone hired a company named Gudea to look into this bot activity. We don't know who hired Gudea yet. It could have been Blake Lively, for example. I doubt that Taylor Swift wanted to look into this herself. It is not something that typically she would do, but I'm not going to say that I know anything more than anyone else because I don't. But anyways, the CEO of that company told Rolling Stone, as part of a goal for these types of narratives for whomever is pushing them, especially with these inflammatory ones, that's going to get rewarded by the algorithm. You'll see the influencers jump on it first because it's going to get them clicks. Interestingly enough, that made me think about what New York Times did to me when they spread a conspiracy theory about me and everyone picked it up. Anyways, that might be true that influencers are jumping on conspiracy theories. But influencers here in this case, when it comes to Blake Lively, are the people who actually did their due diligence. Because influencers, journalists, and content creators actually took the time to read the court papers and reported on it. Most coverage that we've seen in mainstream media about this case is either sloppy, ignorant, or biased on purpose. A lot of the stories I've read so far this year proves to me that most journalists covering this case for mainstream media have not read the legal papers. They've been fed stories by either sides here. I'm not saying that Blake is the only one who's feeding the media with stories, but I'm saying that what I believe to be true is that most journalists don't even know how to handle or how to even access the court docket. So what they've been covering is basically evidence that's been fed to them, or they have copied and pasted other journalists who have covered this story. Anyways, let's get back to this Rolling Stone article. So what these researchers claim to have found here, the Gudea researchers for that company, say that they found that the same bot network that was behind the attack on Taylor were also attacking Blake Lively. If that's true, I think it completely destroys Blake Lively's claim about this smear campaign. And this is why. Blake claims that Baldoni and the Wayfarer parties created a smear campaign against her. She's saying their motive was SH, so this was a retaliation campaign against her. And if you think about that, why would Justin Baldoni and his team turn around and create the same smear campaign against Taylor Swift? They have no reason to do that. Obviously, they have nothing against Taylor. For all we know, they've kind of collaborated with Taylor at one point when her father, Taylor Swift's dad, called Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, and told him that, hey, Blake Lively tried to blackmail Taylor Swift and said that if she didn't support her publicly, she would release text messages, 10 years of text messages. Whatever. So it doesn't make any sense that it's the same people behind hiring this bot farm to smear people. This tells me one thing, and that is that these bot attacks are very common. It happens all the time. I think if they looked into 100 different celebrities that are or famous people, they would find the same kind of pattern. This is called conspiracy theories. And another point here is that what these conspiracy theories or these bots spread about Taylor Swift are obviously lies. Where are these lies that these bots allegedly spread about Blake Lively? I haven't really come across any lies, any narrative that got legs about Blake Lively that wasn't coming directly from her own actions. That's also where this whole thing doesn't really make sense. Where are the conspiracy theories around Blake Lively that she was difficult to work with? Well, we've seen a lot of real people come out and talk about that. So those are not conspiracy theories. These basically shows that there are interests out there of creating conspiracy theories, and that's old news. And some people will obviously jump on them and spread them and hope that it will get them clicks. But most of the time, these kind of lies don't really get legs. And then you also have to think about who would do this to harm Taylor Swift? Who could be behind this? To me, the person that is really after Taylor Swift right now and is not friends with her anymore is Blake Lively. Who knows what she hired Nick Shapiro to do, the ex-CIA agent that we haven't heard from since she hired him? What has he been up to? Might as well say that this is Blake Lively's doing. Maybe she even created this smear campaign against herself. Who knows? People are so crazy. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me that a person or a company could hire these bots to work in their favor or to spread these conspiracy theories. What I've seen in documentaries made about conspiracy theorists, they are just lonely people sitting in a basement somewhere coming up with these stories that they manage to spread online pretty fast. And as I said, I haven't even heard any of these stories about Taylor Swift. So it didn't really reach the mainstream. It didn't really reach the public, if you ask me. I would like to see some more research being done here because we need to know who runs these bot companies. And also they need to find the connection between this alleged bot farm that they are accusing Baldoni and the Wayfarer party to hire. We need to see that connection there. They have not been able to prove that so far. And we know that they have zero evidence of any of these claims. So that's why I think this is another planted PR piece. Maybe it's even an olive branch from Blake to Taylor saying, I know that they did the same thing to me, that they did to you, and now we're in the same boat here, so maybe we should still be friends. Another thing here that's interesting is that was Taylor actually harmed by this? Because Blake is claiming that she was so harmed by this retaliation campaign that she should get $161 million altogether with all damages and whatever, all these legal terms. She should get like $650 million from this because she lost so much work due to this damage to her reputation. So if that's the case, how come Taylor Swift's album was such a huge success in the middle of this smear campaign? To me, that really undermines Blake's claims. Because if this bot attack didn't actually harm Taylor, how come it harmed Blake so much? One of the reasons why I also believe that this might be a part of the PR game and a planted story by Blake's team is because they are putting Blake into this story. What's the reasoning for that? Why do they want to connect these stories together? There is, as I said, there is nothing similar about these cyber attacks. There were conspiracy theories and lies planted about Taylor. Blake can't prove that there's any lies or any conspiracy theories about her that was spread to this extent. Also, as I said, who was trying to harm Taylor? Then there needs to be an intent here. She didn't accuse anyone of SH. Yeah, the only person I can come up with who has an interest of harming Taylor to say, hey, this is what it feels like to have a smear campaign against you. You should have supported me. The only person that would think like that, I don't know, guess who? Anyway, someone sent me this article from Norway. And this, again, just proves how sloppy journalism can spread lies. So this journalist obviously read the article in the Rolling Stone that was also picked up by The Guardian. And they write, I'll translate from Norwegian, that scientists found a connection between the accounts attacking Swift and the ones who spread lies about the actress Blake Lively. So now they use this information that never says anywhere in the Rolling Stone article that these accounts spread lies about Blake Lively, but in Norway, where they rewrote this article, they just translated it into that. So that's how easy things get twisted in the media as well. And it's so interesting how they're accusing the influencers, the content creators, and online journalists of doing that when they're actually the ones doing it. Anyway, so if anyone was worried that that article could harm Justin Baldoni, as I said, I think the opposite is going to happen here, because I think that this was obviously planted by her side. And now let's see if she actually hired that company that found this research. What was their name? Gudea. If they're on the list of any experts from Blake Lively's team, that should be very interesting to find out. Okay, so yesterday there was this hearing that everyone's been talking about. Is there going to be a settlement now? Are they in talks of a settlement? And it seems like the judge now is getting really tired of everyone. And he's like, you're not that important to me. Although he's saying that, yeah, you are kind of important, but I have more important cases coming up that are criminal cases, and I need to attend to those first. So that's why they postponed the trial for 2 more months. So now it's going to be May 18th instead of March. Anyway, so now he is pushing for a settlement, which is a very normal procedure to do for a judge to say, hey, it would be better if you just could agree on something. I don't think you should spend so much of the public's time and money and resources fighting this in court. You have to remember that the jury, for example, regular people like you and me, have to take time out of their lives and their work hours to attend this trial. These are people that don't get really paid to do that. But Blake Lively think that it's so important for her to prove that she's really popular, that all these people should sacrifice their time and earnings and life to be there to support her. also, this is taxpayers' money paying this judge to spend his time on this case. So yes, and the judge also ordered the parties to sit down and figure out what should get sealed and unsealed. I think he's trying to push for things to get unsealed even faster. And you have to remember here that the judge has seen all the evidence so far. We haven't really seen everything, but by seeing all the evidence, he thinks that they should settle. I have no idea if that's going to happen. People just keep guessing if they are going to settle or not. I think for Justin's sake, he will not settle unless he's completely vindicated. And also we have to keep in mind, I think there are 13 parties that are sued by Blake Lively. And all of these people have to agree to a settlement if that happens. And as we know now, for Blake, I think pulling out now would really harm her. But then again, I think going to trial would harm her even more, because at trial, we will know every single detail of her personal life as well. She would be asked questions that are really intrusive and private about her relationship, even with Ryan Reynolds. So I think the risk for her to do that and come out of that on top. And also we have to remember, at the end of the day, what's the most important thing here? It is the public opinion. Although I do think for Justin's sakes that he needs to be cleared for everything to continue to have a thriving career in Hollywood. And that also goes for Jamie Heath and the other people that are involved, of course. Anyways, Blake has been out and about again, showing off a red dress. And I just found it so funny because Daily Mail was doing a story about it, saying Blake Lively flashes cheery smile in festive red as her Justin Baldoni court battle is delayed. And they describe her like this: she worked a crimson corset style dress, glittering bow-adored heels, and a head full of loosey wavy lock that she toyed with as she departed the store. A tasty treat in hand, Lively looked as happy and stylish as could be. The smile on her face concealed any lingering feelings she may have about her widely publicized war with Baldoni, which is approaching its 1-year anniversary. I found this to be very poetic and in great contrast to the comments that is everywhere on all the outlets that actually published something from this event. She was promoting her hair products. And people are brutal. I feel like this is getting to a point now, I can't even read the comments on these things myself because people are so upset and they're being so mean. I wonder when Blake and Ryan can open up comments again on their social media accounts. Anyway, that's it from me, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm sure there are going to be more legal filings later this week as well. So much is happening all the time in this case. I am sometimes struggling to keep up, but I'm really trying my best for you guys. And thank you again so much for sending me so many tips and so much encouragement. You guys are amazing. You're so beautiful. Thank you, thank you. And please, if you haven't subscribed yet, do that and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode of Blossom Talk. And I'll see you soon. Bye.
Yeah, we blossom talk.